Hello, my dear chess friends. Today's evening, I wanted to cover the New Zealand Championship rounds 3 and 4, um, in which we could possibly look at the most interesting games. The others I will just go over quickly. Um, so I would just go gradually and then show the final results probably really quickly. So here we go, round three. There were a lot of people finishing the games with a draw, quite a lot actually, probably the most drawn round in the whole tournament. But yeah, the top games, as you see, they finished with draw. Some of the resultative games as well, but it doesn't really say that they were grandmaster draws. These people were fighting quite well. So if we just go to the main event there, so first game was Anthony Kerr against Elshan, the Grandmaster. Well, here everything finished in the end with the well, they started with the weird Sicilian defense again with the Fianchetto Bishop and so on. So yeah, quite a lot of stuff in there. But in the end was the Rook Endgame with slight advantage to White, namely the extra pawn. But this definitely doesn't have any winning chances at all. So I draw here. Next, Daniel Gong played against another Egyptian Grandmaster, Shokem. So here it was, strangely for Daniel, it was the closed game. But I think he also plays d4 and e4 equally. So here it was basically the King is Indian with the Fianchetto bishop. And the variation was a6 here. d5 comes, and then it's really interesting variation. It looks like the knight here is actually stranded, but there's nothing serious about that. So going there. Frankly, this is probably a sideline. It's not the main variation here. But, well, I trust Daniel because he is quite a theoretician, so he must know what is what in here. And the game basically was equal all the way through, finishing with this position where people agreed to draw. The players agreed to draw. Okay, next one was Nicholas Crowd against Bob Smith, and it was a weird Slav defense. It is quite interesting because the main variations here were like actually going with DTEX. Sorry, in this variation, the main stuff was considered taking here or something, but well, this is equally transforms to some sort of um, Slav defense in which black gives away the two bishop advantage to white, but it is kind of a really strange position which is not really favorable to two bishops in here. Uh, white cannot really white cannot really open up the position, right? So after a lot of maneuvering, probably nothing really spectacular again, and it's finished with a draw in this kind of position, right? So two knights pretty much holding the position here. Okay, white cannot really infiltrate anywhere. The queen's side is guarded by the king, so draw. Next one, Ben Hague against David Cilia Vincenti. That was again weird. David usually plays Dutch defense, so here it comes to some sort of weird stuff where Ben was just hoping to, you know, outperform his opponent, but the position becomes really kind of sharp first, but then stabilizes. And white has got two bishops. Black has got an extra pawn. I think. No, they both have an equal number of pawns now, and looks like black's position is even a little bit worse now because of that weakness on e6. But dynamically, black wins on one more pawn, and then white was basically trying to get the best of this position, and they finished with a draw with perpetual check here. Computer says that this is still kind of the position is still good for black, significantly. If you see, it is like plus minus over 1, minus 1.2 here. But what to do, it is not really clear. So computer gives this variation here where black sacrifices the exchange, but the pawns are quite strong, and yeah, in the final position I believe it is going to be still some advantage to white, but it is technically hard to win. So they just probably wanted not to risk and just finish that. One resultative game here between Zero Zing and Russell Dive. Russell usually plays the Benko Gambit in here, but it's a weird variation here, which is not giving any advantage to white. And after a while, black regains the pawn and also keeps the pressure. So yeah, that's just, and white's king is still in the center, and black develops a lot of initiative here, and basically after a while crushes the this experienced opponent in here. So yeah, here is the really huge advantage. Those passers are quite devastating, and also yeah, this way it just goes, and two pawns basically decide. Here we go. Another one is Herman van Riemsdyk playing Joshua Langford, and frankly it was quite equal at some point again. And yeah, Herman played this variation which was shown before in the tournament with f3. Apparently it's really popular, but this is c3 variation, which is really funny with this kind of wedge in the middle. So after a while that goes to some kind of an endgame in which white has already got a significant advantage due to the pawn, black's pawn structure, which is totally ruined. And obviously, an international master uses this in his advantage. And finally, here, once it reaches this position, it might be seeing like rook and game and draw, but no, it is check, going there, another check, and here all pawns are just basically going. Um, White has got a significant advantage in here. Taking there, going there, taking a lot of pawns here, and yeah, the position becomes hopeless for white because of a lot of passed pawns in here. Here we go, and white escapes. Two passers definitely guarantee a draw when the king is cut off. Jasmine Zhang is really modest in this tournament, so she finishes a lot of games with a draw, probably not risking, but it is equally gaining her some low points. So well done, Jasmine. Here it was just a long maneuvering in which, in this position, on move 24, she agreed to a draw against Leonard McLaren. Then another game between Michael Steedman and Nigel Minch that finished with Michael winning, and the position was I believe it is called Shara Ginning Gambit, which is quite interesting. In this particular situation, black actually banks on quick development, but I believe that was not the correct move here. I believe like black just missed something in here. So after a while, well, white basically stands with an extra pawn here. No significant development for black as well. So that was, yeah, maneuvered and basically finished somewhere around here already. So that was decided. One more pawn goes and no attack, nothing exchanges. Opposite color bishops with rooks are pretty much simple. And yep, here black I decided to call it a day. Now here uh, Ryan Winter playing against Michael Soul. It was a really popular Berlin defense now with the popular as well D3 move. Sometimes they even change here then play D3, but these days it is quite a common stuff for how to avoid the Berlin defense in its pure variation. So here it comes, d5 is played here, which gives black kind of um, comfortable position. If it's not going this way, then black usually pushes the pawn as it happened in the game, and then after this exchange, white finishes with the really um, kind of weak pawn here, but black still should be watching out. And here it comes. Here it is still like advantage to black, so black has got a really nice position. But in fact, well, there was no reason to move that queen right away. Um, yeah, even here it is still advantage to black, and I believe I didn't really look at that game before, but I think that look, black is totally fine in here. So white tries to restructure, and here, well, that move is also, yeah, that move is a little bit um, the king's position is a little bit shaky here. I know that he wanted to get his bishop to g7, but there was no need to do so because this bishop could go and like to c5, for example, at some point, and yeah, find its way here. So after that, it's an equal game, and white gradually consolidates his position. He moves the pieces into better places here, and then after playing g6, the bishop actually goes to g5 instead. So currently, yeah, that's just a lack of consistency. And now, yeah, black just won a pawn, offered changing the queens. Now just getting back and forth. Looks like black is playing without any kind of particular plan here. Yeah, so here again it was draw to take here, take there. In this position, frankly saying, is a draw, right? So let's just see how white outperformed his opponent. So he went there, immediately allowing this kind of pin. And the problem for here for black is that he can't really um, go and win here. So taking there, he just goes away, right? So that's probably what he missed. If taking, that's a draw. But if going there and trying to push the pawn, that's a problem. And here, yeah, here black basically, well, actually, even here, even pushing the pawn is winning, and after taking he queens. So yeah, that's what happened in the game, and that's where black resigned. Okay. Quite an interesting game, in which black was totally fine, but after some series of moves, just the position deteriorated. Unfortunately, Isabel Ning made a draw against Ben Thomas. In the final position, it was just a perpetual check here. Before that, it was saying that, yeah, black was supposed to go. It's all forcing here. Black was having an advantage, but after taking on c3, everything was gone. Basically, yeah, that's what it says. Edward Reigns won against Thomas van der Horn. Um, this was some kind of new Caracan defense, and um, that was it was quite a solid position here for black, but as you see, white has got advantage according to the computer, and it's because, yeah, white is better developed, and d4 is coming, yeah, then enter him here, then c b3. Black's pieces are pushed away, and that manifests white's advantage for sure. And in the end, it looks like white has got an extra piece here. Yeah, that was a win. Then Nick Cumming drew against David Zhu. Um, was quite a long game, but in the end, well, in fact, having an extra pawn here is probably advantageous for white, but probably without risking. Nick just call a draw, and yeah, it was accepted. Nadia Braganza won Ole Archer, so that's an interesting game which I was actually watching. So that is the an old classical Caracan defense with e6, so the bishop doesn't go beyond the pawn chain, which is slightly suspicious. If you look at the statistics of those games, white has definitely got some advantage in here. And then c5 with two moves seems a little bit odd to me. Taking, going. Still, it is not like white has got significant advantage here, but um, it is kind of weird to give that much to white, that many tempi. Okay, so here comes another exchange. Here comes that. Going there, just restricting the knight. Going there, coming back, exchanging. White doesn't really go for any advantage in here, just maneuvering back and forth. But where was that going wrong? And here it was actually better for black at some point. It's definitely better for black now. Taking, check. Here, well, the whole purpose of the white's combination here was just to win a rook for two pieces, but that's not really good enough, is it? Going there, taking here, and here comes rook to d1. Probably that was missed by the opponent because two bishops are here. Looks like it's all fine. The bishop just goes away, right? So he took on b2, but then um, first of all the bishop is attacked. Was there anything better for white? Not quite sure, but this is an interesting move with some agenda. Uh, it brings the rook actually towards the enemy's bishop. I don't really see anything good here for white. In fact, black is still kind of winning. So yeah, just going away, attacking here. Oh, and here comes the error. So if black stepped back to f6, then there was no problem. But here it comes this way. So king cannot really defend the bishop. I think black got a little bit relaxed here, but black cannot really defend that bishop anymore, and white basically wins that bishop, being exchanged up. Here we go, exchanging. Well, this position is basically won for white because white has got absolutely no weaknesses, and yeah, outmaneuvering black would be really easy. So here we finished finally in this position where white sacrifices his rook for a pawn, but if it is retaken, then yeah, well, white just comes and creates a passer and wins easily. Now another interesting game was Kendrick Zhang against Laila Temirgazi, and it was mocked up really quickly by white by some reason. It was quite good, but at some point white just went wrong, and that was just already some advantage to black, and white castled to the queen side where black has got the advantage, and basically yeah, that was going back and forth, and at some point black just outmaneuvered his opponent. So this pawn push here is definitely um, quite advantageous for black, and then all the pieces are coming into attack basically, after which yeah, the position is just ruined. Gradually, black increases her advantage, and yeah, that's just basically winning on technique. Here we go, the queening, and well, in this position, in fact, yeah, that's already checkmate in 8, yeah, and here black wins. Hao Tang against Justin Jide, and here here comes another game, the last one for this round. It is the this looks like Lasker's defense in the Queen's Gambit, but slightly different variation. And here we go with some opening. So, well, this position is definitely in White's favor. Look at this pawn. Black's king's residence is ruined, and yeah, White has definitely got advantage even from the opening. And here it comes, the final position. All right. So after that, the next round comes, and with this next round, round four, which was today, there was also a lot of draws on the top boards, but equally a lot of resultative games. So let's just go through them as well quickly. There were a couple of them that were quite good. Hi, Insomnia Fire. Sorry, I just didn't really look into the chat. I'm looking into the positions of New Zealand Championship. So that's the position. It is not a particular tactical solution or anything that I usually do, but it is for just covering the New Zealand Championship games. And this is the round that happened today. As to standings, there is quite a lot of people with number of like 3 points here. Only 2 people at 3.5. Nobody on the perfect score at the moment. And definitely in the next round, David Silivincenti and Bob Smith are playing together against each other. I mean. All right, so let's just go to this round, which is round four. We'll have a quick look at those games and see what happened there. So Elshan plays against Daniel Gong, and here everything is going to the Rosalima attack, which with the variation of two knights here. Basically, for with this variation, when Black plays e6, he plans to go with the knight to e7 in order not to double the pawns on this side. Okay. So it goes there, but this is a rare move. If you see that the main move here and the most popular is just to go with the rook to here once black plays a3, uh, white comes to f1 with the bishop, therefore saving that, and then going c3, then d4, etc. But okay, so that's how it was played here. Very interesting opening, and looks like, well, black could even play knight to c6, to my opinion. So if white wants to change that, you can even take with a d pawn, in fact, then just do like exchange the rooks and so on. I think black doesn't have a lot of even an inkling of a problem here. And then it goes this way. Yeah, a lot of maneuvering, etc. So black probably wanted, white probably wanted to get to a position which is quite technical, but Daniel is also quite good in this position. So it's finished in the end with a draw in this kind of position. Double rooks, but yeah, black is tending to either do perpetual or win one more rook in here. So yeah, that's how it all goes. So yeah. Um, Next one was Herman semi shocker against Herman van Rimsdijk, and here it was some kind of an interesting. Um, Looks like it is English opening, but if we reverse that, that looks like a strange Sicilian dragon or whatsoever with double fianchet on both sides. And I believe that this particular structure was um, On YouTube, it was popularized by one of the grandmasters. He said like, well, this is exactly the structure you need to go for to equalize the English opening. Okay, but nevertheless, so it finished in the equal in game here, and the opponents agreed to a draw with computer saying that is a slight advantage to black. Russell Dive also drew against Nicholas Crode, so here it is just going to some kind of reversed Binko gambit, but it is called Reti opening, of course. And yeah, after a while, it's finished in this kind of in game, but definitely Black could have tried his chance um, against the knight, but I'm quite sure that um, the players of the level of Russell and Nicholas, they could easily draw here. Now, David Silva Vincenti won against Anthony Kerr. Well done, because yeah, Anthony is um, quite a strong player, and in fact, it was some kind of transformation to Maroczy bind with exchange on d4. That one was actually popularized by Robert James Fisher. He said that we need to take here first in order to get rid of this one of the knights and kind of simplify the position a little bit. Then the queen drops back. But as you see here, most of the variations are of the huge advantage to white here, because it is, yeah, well, the position is quite passive for black. So here it comes, and slowly but surely um, white gets a grip here on the position and um, dominates basically here. So a lot of exchanges here, and here is an interesting moment. It's a really interesting combination here because, well, that pawn is it's gone, right? So it's pinned first of all, so the rook is under attack. You can't do much about that. You definitely can't really do anything with the bishop because it's also pinned. And here comes a really kind of blunder. So the rook defends that. It's not a blunder yet, but the rook defends the e7 pawn. Then another rook comes in, and here comes the blunder. After which he took on e7. If he retakes, check. Suddenly the queen is lost. And after that, the method of winning was you know, technical. So well done, and it's really surprising that Anthony basically blundered that kind of um, fork there. Next game it was Bob Smith against Michael Steedman. Those people, two guys are quite a long time rivalry in chess, obviously not in real life. But I believe that last time I saw them playing sometime uh, like gosh, if I'm not mistaken, it was North Island Open. Maybe they played after that, but then Bob was having a much better position, and after a while, he probably didn't really stand the tension and blundered, and Mike won. And Bob was just overwhelmed with emotions and just showing that actually here it was winning and here it was winning, but in fact he just yeah he did just lost there. So here Bob took his revenge, in fact. And Mike is famous of playing this kind of slightly like side openings with sometimes cramped positions, but he equally is really good at tactics, so that sometimes really works for him. So here we come to some kind of King's Indian defense with the knight on e2 instead. So let's see how it all goes. Closing the position, the knight goes to d4. Uh, is that okay to take that? If it takes taking here, he takes here or somewhere. I'm quite sure. Oh, okay. So that's what it says. He can't really take there because he takes d. Now, if you take with the bishop with the queen, you can yes take on e4. The queen is under attack. You can't go there because the rook wins your queen, and the position is quite bad for white. Okay, so fair enough, not taking there. So he played h3 instead. Then Mike just closes the position entirely. It seems like, well, that knight is quite strong. But after a while, I don't really understand why Mike actually changed on b4 here, allowing them to take on d4. Um, the whole thing was just to keep that position closed, probably. And yeah, so that's what I didn't really get, why he took on b4. Computer recommends even b5, but that's kind of super sharp play here. Position is already kind of good for black, so yeah, this taking is giving away some advantage in here. And then he goes with the queen, then exchange comes here, and then this thing happens. Okay, still it's advantage to black, then goes there, yeah, still advantage to black, coming there, and after a while, so well, here it is an interesting position where basically white's rook is attacked and Bob decides to sacrifice the exchange um, in order to get some counterplay, I believe, right? And this is the counterplay, those two pawns. And he actually succeeds at doing that because black needs to be really careful. The pawns go, and another pawn comes here and opens the king's position as well, so that's interesting. Now, here, white blunders, it's the computer says, because, well, yeah, probably no, they still have got enough time here, so a lot of blunders are coming from both sides, exchanging the rooks, which should be actually favorable to black, going there, and here comes, oh yeah, here comes the blunder. So Mike probably got relaxed about his position, that he kind of stabilized and tried to get to the enemy's king, but he misses a really simple tactics here. After this, it is checkmate in one. Really sad. But chess is really harsh game here. Alright, so next one is Edward Reigns playing against Ben Hague, and Edward won. Uh, really surprising, because Ben Hague is quite a strong player, and here Edward tries his famous opening with kind of a Grand Prix attack, but without a bishop to c4, and he always plays that one for white, in fact. Now bishop comes to b5 instead, and here we go. We'll just watch. So this is all good for white. Now exchange of the bishops, and now the enemy's king is just open. You can go h5 and just kill it with fire. Now this is, yeah, well, that's the thing. Why would you go there? Taking here, the computer recommends taking bc, even making the position even worse for black, then going h5. Of course, that's what I was thinking. Going there, check, going away. But yeah, I think white just decided to play safely here. Now black goes and attacks, going there, going there. Now exchange of the rooks, and it is definitely still in white's favor. Going back, now it is nearly equalized. Going forward with d pawn, that's a mistake, as the computer says. Okay, going away. Going there, white has got significant advantage already. So going there and protecting. Check. There, you can't really take here because a rook takes and then fork on f7. Now going there, taking. Now white has got really strong passes here, so he takes, sacrifices the bishop. Now black regains the pawns, but still it is quite bad for black. Black goes there, going there. Opponents had well, white has got the time trouble now, so check. If he takes, he probably wanted to push the pawn and win one of the rooks, so he goes back, going there, and check, and here the the end is really close. Okay, there. Okay, so he tries to get this trick here, but the rook returns back, and that's it. Because the pawn goes there, and he can't really stop that, so he goes back. The pawn can queen first of all, and then just even win that rook. So black resigned. Really impressive um, play by Edward Reigns here. Next one was Leo McLaren against Nadia Braganza, and here we just check it was just Leo always plays the Sicilian Alapin for white with c3, but here it is just kind of delayed Alapin, but nevertheless it is similar. So it's kind of a tricky opening. We really not kind of well different Sicilian basically, right? So it's just slightly different. All the structures are different. And he well basically the game I watched that game too, and up till like here it was actually quite an equal end game, and Leonard just won basically on the technique, on experience here. So even this position is still drawish. It is equal, absolutely. So black just needed to stand there and wait what's happening. Everything is changed here, going back. Well, here was the problem. So why would you go back there? I don't understand that. She probably wanted to go there and block the pawn or something, but just go back, and that's it. So there is nothing really serious for black. And starting from here, there are two consequent moves with mistakes. This one, right? And then I believe that knight d8, it was a fatal mistake here because, well, basically, black gets to a Zugzwang here, I believe. He can't get anywhere, and the white king can go to that square. So let's just see what happened. Yeah, exactly. So the white king moves further there. Now he relocates to pressure that pawn, I believe. Goes there. Now another pawn goes. Black cannot really take that pawn, and then the king infiltrates, and yeah, basically the pawn goes there and queens. A really sad loss to Nadia because, well, the position was really equal. There was nothing to be afraid of. So yeah. Now next one, Jasmine Zhang again drew against Ryan Winter. So yeah, here we go. Jasmine's favorite Nidorf, and here it goes to some kind of chevening, and well, bishop to f3 is that actually playable? It is playable, and it actually says that it is advantage to white here. Interesting. Who would have thought that this one is actual variation because of that probably stuff there or something. Yeah, e5, f5, g6, g3. My goodness. Yeah. Well, in the end, it was yeah, finished with a draw in this kind of position, in which, by the way, let's just see. Well, they were repeating the position, right? So going there, it is still showing slight advantage to white, and that's why Jasmine probably took the draw here. Next one. This is a really kind of probably the shortest game of the whole tournament. White just blundered really badly here. So this is, first of all, it is kind of a passive opening here, but it's okay. So still playable. Going there, going d5 now. Another like two moves with the pawn without anything. So here b4 comes, and that's a mistake because taking on d3, and unfortunately there is a fork here. Okay, and why unfortunately? Because you will see that. So probably white said like, well, that's cool, I'm gonna take with the knight, but he forgot about one little thing. If he takes, black just takes, and then the rook is also on pre. So on move 11, white resigned. That happened. Yeah, that happens. Now, Joshua Langford played against Isabel Ning and he won the game. Isabel went for the knight derf. She used to play the Sicilian Khan variation, but she shifted to the knight derf by some reason. Knight derf is really, really sharp opening. So um, the price of every move here is quite high, and black needs to know what he's doing or she's doing in this case. So this is a manifest the English attack, which is played against everything possible in Sicilian. So it's the standard maneuvers here. She plays e5 with some kind of actual knight here, and then h5. So this is a new move here, and I believe it is one of the main ones to the English attack. It was developed not a long time ago when white started to crush black in this kind of structure. So h5 is a valid move, preventing g4 in fact, and in this case black will definitely not castle to the queen side, to the king side. It will probably stay in the center, but still black needs to watch out. Going there, white has got standard formation here, taking on d5. Well, here taking on d5, it looks like, yeah, black has got this really bad bishop here, but it's not that bad because the d5 square is not belonging to white anymore. Well, it does, but any piece cannot really, especially knights, cannot really occupy that uh, square anymore. So black is kind of okayish here. So you can develop this way, or going that way with the knights and etc. Going g6 probably at some point. So yeah. So white tries to open the position on the queen side. Fair enough. Black castles, but again that is a little bit dangerous here because white can still go there and open up the position. The problem is that white is not didn't really castle to castle long, so opening that is also kind of um, mutually risky. So here comes c4, going there. Queen goes away from this X-ray. Then the bishop relocates. Okay, maneuvering, taking here well. Okay, now exchanging the bishops as well, going away, taking, going there. So by now I would say, well, I think white does have advantage in here. First of all, he can create the passer here, and well, in general as well, like, yeah, well, I would, yeah, that's what happened in the game, but I would dominate that knight as well. I will exchange everything, and it is quite a pleasant position for white, in fact. Black can't really go anywhere. There's no counterplay virtually, and then white can just go there and yeah. And this definitely a mistake because the knight is getting pinned, and unfortunately white has got several moves here to increase pressure, and black hasn't got enough resources um, to defend that piece which got pinned. Going there, but again here we come, and here we go. Finally, it looks like this is a blunder. No, it is not. So just going there and taking with the bishop. Nothing serious. Black goes there in order to attack here. Um, the king comes closer, preventing the attack. Just queen goes away with the idea of check, but the pin decides check, goes away. Black cannot really attack that. Taking the check first, taking check again. Black is obligated to exchange the queens, and with that the game goes away. Unfortunate for black, but and the Chimao played a really quick game, drawn against Nick Cummins, and Nick Cummins could have played for some pressure here because, well, what happened in this game? I'll just show you very quickly the opening. It is the Queen's Gambit accepted, which I also kind of play too, so I know the position. So if White changes the queens here, uh, the isolated pawn doesn't give him any advantage at all. So the position is slightly better for Black now, and Black could organize some counterplay against this pawn, which is isolated. It's really hard to do, but yeah, well, that's Black doesn't risk anything, right? So yeah, but in this case, Black offered the draw, and White accepted it, probably thinking, well, yeah, there is no way that he could win that, and just to save your energy. Next game, Laila Temirgazi playing against Zero Zing. I really like that one because that was also kind of transposition into the Miran variation, in which neither black nor white knew the proper move order. So here comes the Miran. Here comes the Miran. So taking here, taking, then b5, going back. Uh, so this is the Larson's variation with bishop to b7, and this is the variation where white shouldn't really move e4. That was proven that the best move here is to castle, in fact. Right, so that's the main variation now. And then once he plays a6, then white plays um, uh, e4. But black usually goes with b4 in those variations as well, and white goes to e um, to e4. If you want to look at that, I believe that it was Plugayevsky against Korchnoi. They played in the candidates tournament in the first one or in the second. I don't remember which one, but they played candidate matches, and they played two candidate matches. I don't remember in which exactly Plugayevsky used to play Miran with black, but it was quite a sharp variation with before, and Korchnoi actually showed that it was quite advantageous for white. So in this case, it was going a different way. So white played e4 right away. So black played knight to b6, which is total misunderstanding of the opening. So here it should be played b4. Otherwise, black gets a really bad position, and that's what happened in the game. Without that move, black's thing is not really sustainable. Okay, so here comes b6, which is mistake on its own, and then comes this move. Well, just out of curiosity, instead of this one, why would you just castle? So castling definitely saves you puts your king into safer place, right? So, and then it prepares right away those kind of moves. D5 probably opening the position. It's really kind of interesting here. E5 as well, etc., etc. Well, but technically bishop to G5 is not too bad because E5 was a threat. Going there, castling. E5 comes, knight D5, and here it is interesting as well because, well, in fact, you could go that way right now. I don't think that black it's advantageous for black to exchange the dark square bishops, but you shouldn't really be pushing towards that. See, the whole problem for white is this bishop, the light square bishop. And the whole counterplay for black, basically, that's why they move to b6 with the knight is bad, because all the counterplay here is based on c5 push for black. Now he can't really do that. So taking on e7, then take knight to e4, preventing c5, of course, going there f5, that's totally positional mistake here. Taking there. Now look at this pawn here. Yep, that's gonna be dead at some point. c5, really nice square, pressurizing everything, and yeah, basically white crumbles really quickly here. So going, look, this pawn is pinned and it is attacked that many times. So white's position is gonna be lost very soon. Check, covering d5, taking on e5. The pawn was on pre, going away. In fact, um, black couldn't really take on g5 because of check, discover check, and losing the queen. Okay, so going there, taking with check, going away, and here um, the essence white wins the exchange. In the position itself is really bad for black already, doubling the rooks, holding the position from the last um, you know soldier, but taking there, taking here. Here the rook is attacked, unfortunately, and the bishop escapes, so white finishes with pure piece up. Taking there. So here, going there was definitely closer to a loss, but nothing to do here. Taking, check, and checkmate. Really great game. Uh, Next, here is another interesting game in which white has got tremendous advantage, but managed to lose that somehow. That was just, yeah. So here comes the variation. It's the dragon. It's not the Yugoslav attack so far because bishop is not here yet, but it is a sub variation where white plays a 6 move. It's called one of the Grand International Masters. Vlasov calls the Dragondov because it is Najdorf and Dragon kind of fused together. Very interesting stuff, but doesn't really bring black any relief, to be honest. So going there, that's another move that how plays, so that prevents storm of the pawns here for sure. So white plays as usual in Yugoslav attack, castling, then b5 comes, bishop goes to b3. So far everything is similar, right? But if you look at this, it's equally okay for black and white. Basically that's equal. Now bishop b7, of course, so yeah, black is not really castling because going there would be um, the knight, the bishop on g7 will be exchanged, so black doesn't really hurry with that with castling here. Now king to b1. The theory says that knight to d5 is actually the best variation here, as well as bringing the other rook in and probably planning e5 at some point whatsoever. But king b1 was played. This variation is good for black. Rook to c8, h3, and here if you see all the variations, they are definitely in black's favor. So going there, let's see g4, going there. Now this one potentially is hanging. This is attacked as well. Now knight also heads towards the queen side, where the white's king is. Going g5. Well, instead of g5, let's just see what it is. Yeah, just centralizing. Going there, going away, f4, changing. Now here it is an interesting position. He goes rook to f1. Um, yeah, that's strange. Well, what comes to my mind is that the black's king is not castled yet. So couldn't we just do something like f5 here, like really making position sharper? Maybe not. Computer recommends knight to d5, but well, yeah, interesting. I would need to check what the computer says here. So first f5, yeah, of course. That's what I was kind of thinking about. f5. And knight to d5 is the second choice, but equally rook goes to e1. Yeah. I would go for e5 probably. Oh, sorry, f5 probably. Mm. Knight d5 is the best choice here after a while. That's what the computer recommends. Nevertheless, okay. Going there, e5. Well, I can understand why, in fact, because he tries to open the position as much as possible, which is quite logical. All right. taking there was a mistake on black's behalf. Um, yeah, and it's a mistake because here comes this kind of thing. The knight is under attack, all right? Then this check comes here, and checkmate is threatened. That's what probably black missed taking on e5. So he needed to castle now for sure. Taking there, and white is piece up. But then what happened? Well, after a while, I'm just looking at this kind of continuation here. Okay, so that's cool, all cool. Taking here, cool, cool. Going there with the bishop, with the knight. Going there, sure. Going there, going there, going there. Now here. Okay, once we reach this position, I would say like, well, okay, my queen is actually protected, right? But the knight, I'm piece up. So why wouldn't we exchange the pieces? Instead of that, white changes here. Uh, it is still winning. It is still winning. But why? Taking here, taking there, you're still two pieces up. You can scoop more pawns. You can scoop a pawn in here, for example. Um, yeah, this like even with the rook, hundreds of things that he could still go with. Probably, well, that rook, that queen exchange by itself is not too bad, but doesn't seem like in the spirit of this position. Yeah, he took there. Now look at the spin. Yeah, well, that's not really nothing serious. So he takes here, he takes here, takes here. Now going there with the bishop. Now, what would knight do there? Why would you go there? At all. Why would your knight go so far away from the battle? That's what I was not really sure about. Why wouldn't you just go that way? I mean, what's wrong with that move? Or even d7, well, that's what computer recommends, just to give him check from here. What's wrong with that? Why to go on the edge, far away? So now black tries to create some counterattack, and he succeeds. So pawn moves there, but then this kind of thing comes in. So now check. Yeah, cool. He goes closer. Even here, I believe it is still like a yeah, +4 for white. So yeah, all cool. Even here it is fine. So going there, exchanging. Now, once you move that, um, this pawn is definitely is gonna be under attack. So what was the reason of moving to exchange the bishop? Probably because he was afraid of that move here and there. And it looks like there is no actually a possibility to stop that pawn, but there was. Just going there and going there, and the pawn is stopped. Look, let's just get that position. So now we say, well, um, it is actually our variation. It's not what happened in the game, but yeah, just going there. Yeah, just going there. That's it. Okay, f6. Now in the game, he went back there. f6 was coming, so black is desperately trying to get all of those pawns moving with support of his bishops, and he succeeds. Going there, sure. What's the reason? Why wouldn't you maybe even take here? That would allow all the other pawns move, but okay. Going there with the knight, taking here, tricky, but taking that, right? Still +2 with chances of winning. Now what does um, white do? He changes. Now king comes closer. c3, what for? It looks like white just wastes a lot of time for nothing. Okay, so here the position is already equal. Computer says it's equal, so no chance for white to win anymore. Now look how gradually everything just goes and turns to custard, which means like how easy it is to. Well, that move was actually the fatal mistake. So you need to go check, and then bring the if he goes there, probably start to attack, and then well the idea is that bishop doesn't have a lot of squares to go away to. So if we go there right away, that's a mistake because he can go to e4 and then still support the pawn. Makes sense. Okay. Now e4 check, going away, and the pawns crash through. And believe it or not, from being a piece up, white finished with being piece down, and in this position he resigned. Very, very dramatic. Now here is my friend Tim playing against Ole Archer. Ole is also a new emerging youth star. So here we go to the Ragozin defense, and going to bishop to g5. Basically that manifests the Vienna variation where black takes on c4, but black plays differently, and here we are standing in front of the exchange variation of the Queen's Gambit declined with the bishop on b4. So here we go. Well, e3 is definitely a waste of tempo here. The main move is taking here, obviously, but well, white has got some different moves as well. The main thing is just to develop the pieces, I believe. So even bishop d3 can be played here. Bishop e2 was one of the options, etc. But yeah, and taking is the main move here. But anyways, e3, taking. Now black starts to pressurize the c3 pawn. That's another mistake. Well, in this structure, you just don't go there. You go to c2 instead. Okay, and if he takes, we take with the other pawn. Now bishop goes in and attacks the enemy's king, etc. So that's the thing. Okay, going now. If the pressure grows, he also attacks the g5 um, bishop. Okay, rook there, then tempo move. If you go away, well, probably b2 would be better, but still, not now. Black definitely has got some um, initiative here. Goes there, taking. Well, at first that doesn't really seem bad, right? It doesn't seem bad, but look, black goes there and he's already attacking that square, right? Virtually, there is no way that white could defend c3. Look how beautiful it looked this way, right? So basically, we've got really nice structure here, but just within one move, it becomes really dire. -2, that's about it. So he goes back, knight goes there, no way to protect that. By the way, I was just wondering if the problem is that we can't really move that knight into here because the bishop is actually hanging. Yes, that's the problem. And here, well, that's an overwhelming position already. So yeah, but frankly saying, yeah, well, overwhelming or not, computer says it's just +4, but we won't be looking at what the computer says. Human-wise, this position is kind of really hard for um, for defense as white, because black has got this really nice pawn structure here, a defended passer and that. So yeah, somewhere around the opening. Yeah, well, here it is. Yeah, definitely. At some point, black would open some lines, exchange pieces, and the yeah, it's gonna be done. And here the pawns go in queen, in fact. Yeah. Now what about here? Yeah, it was checkmate in one. Yeah, so that was basically, but somewhere around here, white still has got like +8 or something. Knight 8 takes c3 is actually a mistake, it says. taking there because that allows white to equalize a bit. So here it was not a bad position in which you needed just to watch the A file, of course. Here, here it is quite a playable position, in fact. Yeah, it's later on where here it is already -1. So let me see where it exactly that drops from here to rook e3 is bad because you need to pressurize that side. Well, that's a really subtle thing. Probably will it's really hard to spot. But nevertheless, yes, that's the problem started right in the beginning here. Now, another position Nigel Mitch played against Philip Aktamati, and I believe it was, uh, yeah, it was the Nimzo Indian here, and kind of a funny position here in which I thought like, well, this is an interesting sacrifice. Um, so yeah, still it is better for white going there. Now he goes that way. Well, here we go. So probably white should be satisfied with this fork and giving away and winning a pawn, probably. So he's got an extra pawn, but white was pressuring towards something better, and that's where he gets in trouble, I believe. So going there, pawn goes, and it's a fork. Going there, attacking the bishop because this whole thing comes with tempo here, and yeah, another interesting move, attacking, going deeper into the enemy's territory is not always the good thing. And here comes the interim move as well, so he goes back. Now still taking, going there, counter attacking. Well, that one already gives black advantage, so he should have simply taken here, and that would be quite good for white. Okay, so further on there was this mistake move. Now black also pressurizes towards checkmate here, going away. b6, the knight is protected. c4 is still a weakness, so he takes on d6. Now, so we can take here first, of course, but taking here. Hang on, what's happening here? Ah, okay. So there is the escape square. I just for a second I thought it's a checkmate, but no. And if you do that with the queen, we can just simply cover. There's no there. So pawn goes. Another really sharp stuff here, and also the rook is attacked. So bishop d7, simple. Going forward with the pawn, and here goes this pawn move. Funnily, the taking is impossible because it takes, but here taking comes with check, and that saves the day basically. So he goes there. Now bishop goes to c6, going there check, and this is also a mistake, so going away. Going there is also a mistake, and it's a huge mistake. I believe that, well, white was not even in time trouble anymore, so what's going on, guys? So here, what would you do? Yeah, well, you can't really queen, everything is tied up. So yeah, I think white was just desperate to find something. Taking there, queening, taking there, just taking here, and this is the winning endgame for sure. Black will get 2 extra pawns here, and yeah, basically no compensation. The knight can stand here. Winning that pawn would be a problem, and going to the pawn endgame is lost for white. So yeah. Yep, and that's a win. Okay, so after 4 rounds, we've got this kind of disposition, and in which David Silva, Vincenti, and Bob Smith stand at 3.5. And here we've got a lot of players, one, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8 players on 3 points. And it's going to be interesting to watch them play as well. Yeah. In the next round, pairing is already there. We've got the pairs here. So David Silva Vincenti um, playing against Bob Smith. Herman plays against Elshan. Russell Dive plays against Shocker, Grandmaster. Nicholas Kraut plays against Leo McLaren. David Gong against Edward Rains. Anthony Kerr plays against Lila Temergazi. Um, Hatam plays against Ryan Winters. Jasmine Zhang plays against Joshua Langford. And David Zhu plays against Michael Soul. And there are also some players playing further on down the throw. And it's going to be interesting to see them play tomorrow. All right, so I've been already kind of streaming for quite a long time, and it is only covering the New Zealand Championship. Um, for now, I'm just saying farewell. I will be solving tactics tomorrow during the daytime, so feel free to join. But and now I'm just saying goodbye, good night, or whatever time zone you are, and see you tomorrow. Take care and